fancy for a weeknight dinner, to be honest. So I don't know, just don't at me. Just leave comments from my dog, or if you want to say hi to my mom again in this video, that'd be okay. Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking.
Pretty good.
Tonight on the show, we're gonna make a weeknight ramen. This is gonna be kind of in the tonkatsu style of ramen, and it's kind of been on my bucket list to do a multi-day proper ramen episode for PGC. This is not it. This is a can we do it in an hour type ramen, but it's not instant ramen. So I wanted to showcase how you can use some like kitchen ingredients, like everyday kitchen ingredients, to make a fairly nice bowl of ramen. You know, my regular disclosure, this is not authentic, this is not hyper legitimate, this is what we are having for dinner on a Tuesday. So please take that as you will, considering it's Wednesday. So let's get started. I am in a unique position for this recipe because I have a farm share with Wit Farm, and as part of that farm share I get meats and meat accessories that I don't pick out. So part of what inspires my cooking, and part of what I like about the farm share, is I get things and I gotta figure out what to do with them. So it's like it's a stimulating process. And some of the things that I get from time to time are broths that are made. So today we're gonna be using a mixture of pork bone broth and duck bone broth. And traditionally, like a shoyu type ramen, or not traditionally, I will not use the word traditionally. Frequently in recipes that I've read online, I see a mixture of pork and chicken broth as a ramen base. So I figured it would be even better with some duck broth. So we're gonna crack these open, and by crack I mean snip. And our back pot's gonna be our broth pot. All right, we're gonna add a couple extra flavors today. This is a clove of garlic that I smashed. I grew this garlic. We'll pop that right in. And I got a knob of ginger. I'm gonna do 2 slices of ginger. And we'll just let that simmer on the back for a little bit. Well, I was prepping for today's recipe. And also everyone say hello to Iggy. Iggy, come back. Iggy. I don't know, he's stressed out today. So please leave your condolences and your comforting words for Iggy in the comments below. He's having a hard day. Anyways, I was prepping for this recipe and I wanted to include some mushrooms. I have some dried mushrooms I got from the Asian grocery store, and here they are. They're shiitakes. I put a little hot water on them. You can see that leaves a broth. So we're gonna put that in the broth too. I think that'll taste nice. I'll also note that these mushies, I can't think and pour at the same time, or talk and pour. As I was reconstituting these mushies, there's a sulfuric smell that has filled my kitchen. These are really stinky mushrooms. They smell like egg farts. But anyways, the mushroom broth, well, that's gonna be good in our ramen broth today. Corn is an addition to ramen that you see from time to time, sweet corn. So here's some corn. This is leftover from 4th of July. Lol. But I bought all this corn and then everyone brought corn, so I've just been working through it. So this is the end of it. With the corn, will take a little bit of time to go, so we're gonna get that boiling. And then over here in this pan, I'm going to sear the pork. I use avocado oil today, which is a very neutral oil. You can just use any old oil. Okay, so here's my pork tenderloin. It's just like a 1 pound piece. And this is not what you would typically use in ramen. So the most common type of pork you see in ramen is called chasu pork. And a lot of times that's pork belly. So it's a very fatty pork that's rolled so that it cooks evenly. But my big brain, huge noggin that I have, I was like, well, you know, a tenderloin's a cylindrical prism, and when we slice it, you know, it'll kind of look like chasu, even though it won't be like chasu at all. So tenderloin's going to be much leaner. There's like almost no fat on a tenderloin. This is a super high quality meat though, so it is very tender, and if we cook it right, I feel like we can get a parallel, or at least also parallel good experience of having that pork in the ramen. That's kind of my logic today. So there's our tenderloin, little guy. And we're just gonna cook it super simply today. I'm just gonna season it with salt and pepper. I'm gonna sear it, and then I'm gonna pop it in the oven to finish. And with the tenderloin, You actually don't have to cook it that long. That's kind of the cool thing with modern pork. You know, trichinosis is mostly a thing of the past, so you can just, you know, eat your pork and doesn't have to be super over well done. It'll be nice. All right, let's go ahead and season that pork. If you wanted to cook it in a more quote-unquote flavorful method, you could marinate it ahead of time in like a soy sauce based marinade. That'd be quite tasty. Actually, I think I'm just gonna salt it and I'll pepper it at the end so the pepper doesn't burn. I'm a little worried on having enough broth, so I probably will water that down a little bit. Okay, it's time to sear the pork. I am gonna have to twist it a little bit. So I'm just gonna sear it on a couple sides. I'm gonna try to get a little bit of browning on the outside, and we'll pop it in the oven. And if you are not reusing the pan, we could actually, for this kind of like stainless steel skillet, we can throw the whole thing in the oven. But I actually want to reuse the pan, so I'm gonna pop it out. And apart from that, I think we'll pause for now. I'm gonna sear this pork. My corn is not doing anything, it's not ready to do anything, and my broth's heating up, so things are in progress. It's a weeknight ramen. We'll be back. Look, I'm not saying I'm the greatest, but look at my pork tenderloins here. I'm pretty happy with that. None of the other sides look as good as that, but damn, that looks good. All right, so we're gonna transfer this to a pan. I'm gonna put a little pepper on it. Wow, seasoning. And I'm gonna pop that in the oven. The oven's at 350. It could be higher, but 350 will give us a little bit more margin of error because I don't know how long everything's gonna take. All right, so I got my pork pan, and what I'm gonna do there is I've got these mushies. These are shiitake mushrooms. By the way, Arthur's hanging out for the show tonight. There he is. And so is Courtney too. She's right there. All right. So I'm working on these mushies, and I'm using them to kind of deglaze the pan a little bit. I got the heat turned down. All right, so I'm gonna add something to the mushies, which is we're gonna put a little bit of greens in our ramen tonight. I got some baby bok choy. It's organic. We're gonna use the greens. You know, we'll like cook these tender greens later. I'm also gonna set a timer. Let's say 15 minutes for me to check on that pork. And I'm gonna mince up some green onions. 4 big green onions. I'm gonna reserve the green parts. I think the middle parts, what am I gonna do with the middle parts? I'm gonna slice them like so. And I'm just gonna put it in our mushrooms. And my bulbs I'm gonna put in the stock, in that soup. And then we'll have some finely minced with the green part for topping at the end. And the ramen I have today, it was certainly frozen at one point, but this is number 22 ramen wavy. And I've had pretty good luck using this from frozen. I just thawed it out a little bit. That's what we'll work with today. And I got some seaweed as an option. I was thinking about putting some in the stock, but I don't think we need to. All right, another point of prep, I had to do this ahead of time, no movie magic today, are our ramen eggs. So I soft boiled these eggs for 6 minutes and 30 seconds from cold. There's 5 eggs in there. And then as you can see through the dark Ziploc bag, I did a terrible job peeling them, but that is my life. And then I marinated them in a mixture of water. Yeah, that's right, these are water marinated eggs, with soy sauce and mirin. And I actually sampled one earlier this afternoon, and it was delicious. So those are our ramen eggs. Had to make those ahead of time because they gotta marinate for a while. But it's not complicated, you know, it's a soft boiled egg, you throw it in the soy sauce and a mirin for later. I'm liking how these are looking. I wish I had made a lot more of them. I wanna like put this many mushrooms on each ramen bowl. I'll make them 3 and a baby ramen bowl for Arthur. So yeah, I wish I made more mushrooms, but that's life. It's a mistake I think I'm doomed to repeat the rest of my life probably. I am sipping on heavily iced wine this evening. Here it is, there's my heavily iced wine. I filled the glass to the brim with ice. I'm not embarrassed by it, I like cold wine. I am a Philistine. Thank you, thank you for the support, Arthur. What's our pork doing? Let's check it out. I'm sure it's nowhere near to being done, but I would like to look at it. You know, it's a lot more done than I would have thought. Honestly, I think I'm gonna go for 140. 160 is fully cooked pork, but that might be done sooner than I expected. So we're gonna go kind of for a medium well on the pork. There'll be a little bit of pink, and that's just fine. So I'm gonna check it in another 5 minutes. Let's check out what's going on with our broth back here. Let's give it a taste. Okay, so far it has kind of like a, I'd say like onion forward taste, and there's, it's like more vegetable tasting than other flavors. So there's different styles of ramen. There's tonkatsu, and then there's is it shoyu? Shoyu is just soy sauce. Tonkatsu doesn't necessarily have the soy sauce in it. I'm gonna add a little bit just to get an umami flavor, just a little bit. So we're not making shoyu, just adding a little soy sauce for a depth of flavor. I'm gonna add some mirin, which is the wine, and I'm gonna add some rice vinegar. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the pan off for my mushies. I don't think I need to crisp anything up. I might crisp the pork after we slice it, we'll see. Let's give this another taste. It's good. It's like more of a clear tasting broth, and it has more of like the herbal flavors that when Jamie made it, she like made it with oregano and sage and stuff. So this will not taste 100% like a traditional Japanese broth. That's totally fine, because we are normal adjusted people who can handle change and handle things that are not 100% traditional. But I like where that broth's going. I might actually saute the bok choy just because the corn's taking so long. So let's go ahead and get our mushies out. If you wanted to season these further, you certainly could. So you might season them with soy sauce or something like that. But yeah, let's saute our greens. I think that'll taste pretty nice. And these won't take very long at all. We're just gonna try to get the raw out of them. And the nice thing with what we're doing tonight is that you can cook some of these things slightly ahead of time. You don't have to worry about them being the perfect temperature, because you're serving them on a hot bowl of soup, which is a natural reheating surface. So less to worry about there. Be back here shortly. So I wilted the bok choy, and there it is. Pop it on our prep board. Arthur, you're being a big help. All right. This, I don't know what's going on with this burner. I feel like my corn has just been like lightly simmering. So I'm gonna literally chop off some of this corn to see how it is, because I'm kind of annoyed with how long it's taking. All right, the corn's done. Thank goodness. I temp checked the pork, and we need to go a little bit longer. So for the corn, and you are more than welcome to use frozen corn. No big deal. I'm just gonna slice off the kernels from some of it. It'll be one of our toppings today. All right, plenty of corn. I'm gonna try to scoop into this bowl. Looks like it's gonna be a little bit too much corn for the bowl. All right, Mr. Pork is probably done. All right, we've got 135 in like the thickest middle part. Oh, no we don't. That's okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just taking attempts at different spots. What I'm gonna do is let this go just a couple minutes longer, and then I'm just gonna let it rest, and it'll continue to come up to temperature. Or if I get impatient, I'll just pull it out and slice off some pieces, and that'll be that. Let's go ahead and cook our ramen. You want to do this close to the end of the process. And these are, like not dried noodles, so you can see they have a very different texture. And the way that this is packaged is, I think these are supposed to be servings of noodles, but from experience, a lot of experience, it is way too much for one person. So I'm wondering if they're actually packaged in two servings per little knob. So I'm gonna do 2 of those things. We'll get that boiling. You can see that's just that's a ton of noodles. But it will not take that long for those. We're almost done. It's almost ramen time. All right, so our noodles are done. And part of the way that you can tell is that they look tender, but I usually just try one. I like a little bit of bite, so you can cook it to the doneness you prefer. These will keep cooking, so bear that in mind. So I went ahead and cut the heat, and I think today I'm just gonna leave them in the pot, but I'll just strain off the water, like so. And like, look at that. That's a lot of noodles. There's a little bit of corn in there. I took the pork out to rest. Let's see what we're working with, and if we need to saute it or not. With kind of what I've been trying to go for tonight's meal. My logic with this is that it would be as easy as possible. So I personally am trying to avoid having to saute this further. So what we can see is we do have some pink, but we're very firm. And because this is a very lean piece of meat that we're working with today, this is gonna be just fine. We're not gonna get sick from eating this pork. It is cooked to a sufficient measure, and it's actually gonna be a pleasant way to eat this type of pork rather than completely bone dry. I will show you that it has a nice texture. It is tender, and it's delicious. We don't need to cook this anymore at all. This is a lovely, lovely tenderloin. All right, let's make our bowls. We're gonna start with our noodles. John doesn't know how to film me because I don't know what I'm doing. I like to start with the noodles because if you try to add them later, you're gonna struggle. Big Beto noodles. The dish is ramen. It means noodles. You use a lot of noodles. We'll go ahead and we'll add some broth first. We might need to top up more after. Also, I never diluted this, so hopefully we have enough. I think we will. And then, holding our pork together, we'll have some slices of pork. You can add as much or little as you like. A little bit of bok choy, some of our mushies. This is kind of a traditional way of plating ramen. So you have little bits and bobs. We'll add some corn, and because this will be the pretty bowl, we'll try to make it look real nice. Who knows if we'll succeed. And then, let's get one of those eggs. Look at that. Look at that egg. It's jammy. I'm super happy with how that came out. So we'll pop that right there. A lot of times a ramen bowl will just have the one slice, but we're cooking at home, so we can put as many eggs on it as we want. And then, last but not least, we will finish with some scallions in the center. And that looks nice. All right, so when you artfully arrange something, sometimes it feels bad to mix it up. I'll comment that I could definitely use some more broth in mine, but we'll try the broth first. It tastes great. I think because of the flavors of the pre-made broth, it almost tastes like stuffing, like at Thanksgiving. But that's not at all out of line with this kind of food. I'm gonna try some pork. It's delicious, a mushy. It's really chewy. It tastes great. It's really chewy. Maybe a bite of egg. Oh, so good. Wonderful dinner. I think it would be even better with some condiments. So maybe some more soy sauce, even chili oil, something like that. But I'm super happy with how that came out. We made that because I had a pork tenderloin. Well, that's not even the right thing for this dish. So that's how you do it. That's how we did it tonight. If you like what we're doing, great. And we'll see you next time on PGC. Bye-bye.